Filtering pivot table and chart data using slicers is very easy in Excel. However, the $1 million question is, how can I use the filtered value in formulas? We're gonna look at this with 3 levels: the baby level, the maestro level, and the magician level. So let's start. For the setup, it's 2 for 1 today, so I have some data on the left and I want to insert 2 pivot tables and 2 slicers. So click on your dataset anywhere, insert pivot table, existing worksheet, click on the arrow, put it here, press enter 2 times. That's my first pivot table. Let's put the names here and we get it. I want to get rid of grand total, so design. Let's go to grand totals of for rows and columns. Perfect. Let's copy paste it, it's faster. And here instead of name, I want product. Now it's the slicer's turn. So click on your first pivot table, right click on name, add a slicer, and just make it a bit smaller, move it to the right. The next slicer is the same, first pivot table, right click, product, add a slicer, put it here, make it smaller, and put it on the right. Now the problem with those slicers is that they only work on the first pivot table. Let me prove it to you because I know you don't believe me. If I select my stuff, this pivot table is not updating. So what do I do in this case? I need to create a relationship between them, boyfriend, girlfriend. So how to do this? Right click on your first slicer, report connections, and select the second table also. Let's do the same here. And once I'm gonna do it, pay attention to this pivot table. You're gonna see the magic happening. Boom, there we go. Let's start with the baby level. And here what I want to do is calculate the sales for a specific country with one selection in the name. So what does it mean? I want to have either Franco, Gisele, or Maya, and get the sales for France, Belgium, etc. Now, as you can see, when you select one, it's always in this cell. What is the formula that we need to use? SUMIF. If you don't know this formula, don't panic, you're gonna see it's really simple. So equal SUMIF, open parenthesis, you have sum range. This is what you want to sum. So I'm just gonna select D2, Ctrl Shift arrow down, F4 to make it an absolute reference, so if I drag it, it will be fine. Comma, criteria range 1, so here I want the country. I'm just gonna select France here, Ctrl Shift arrow down, same process F4, comma. Then you have the criteria 1, so this is France, very easy, I just select it. And here, no F4. Why? Because I want to drag down, so I want Belgium, Italy, and Germany later. Comma. Criteria range 2 and criteria 2, it is the same process. We're just gonna select the names, F4, comma, and here I want to select this cell because the name will always be in this cell, F4, close parenthesis, press enter, 357, let's double click, you get your answer. So now if I change it to Franco, you can see the numbers, Maya, Gisele, etc. Now we started with baby steps. So the first baby step that you need to do is just hit the like button on this video. I would be very happy. Let's go to the maestro level where I want to allow multiple selections. So if I click here and select Gisele, I want to have the sum of sales for Franco and Gisele in France. How to do this? Let's try it together. So I'm just gonna select the 3 of them for now, and I'm gonna go here and try the same formula. So let's try it equal SUMIF, open parenthesis, let's put the sum range F4, comma, criteria range 1 is the country, F4, comma, we select France, perfect. And here we go to the second one, which is the name. So we select the names, no problem here, F4, comma, and here is where the change happens. So instead of selecting one name, I want all the names. In this case, I have 3, so I select 3 rows. As simple as this. Let's do F4 and let's close parentheses and see what happens. Press enter. The magic is there, you see 3 numbers. Now some of you will not see 3 numbers
they might see an error or one number. It's not that you have a problem with your eyesight, but basically you have an old version of Excel. Obviously not this old, but actually you cannot do dynamic arrays. If you have this problem, don't panic. Let me show you the workaround. You have to select the cells where you're gonna have the answers. In this case, you're gonna have 3 cells. You write the formula in the first cell, and at the end, you just do Ctrl-Shift-Enter. Don't do Enter, Ctrl-Shift-Enter. If you noticed, you get those curly brackets here, and you don't have anymore this blue that we had before. If you missed it, you can just rewind the video a little bit, but this is how you can deal with dynamic arrays if you have older versions of Excel. Now you're gonna ask me, what are those 3 numbers? I can tell you that it is not France, Belgium and Italy. It is actually the sales of Franco in France, the sales of Gisele in France, and Maya in France, because if you click here, we are referring to France. Press Escape. Now I need to sum this because I want the sales of the 3 of them for France. To sum it, it's very simple. I'm just gonna take this formula, Ctrl-C Escape, go here and paste it, press Enter. You can see this blue now comes here, and before SUMIF, I'm gonna write sum and close parentheses. Press Enter, you get the sum of those 3 numbers. Now again, if you have old versions of Excel, you will have to just come here and instead of Enter, do Ctrl-Shift-Enter, it will work for you. You don't have to select multiple cells because in this case the result is in one cell. Now once you do this, you can just drag the results for the rest. So now that you have seen the Maestro level, do me a favor, just click on the subscribe button. Let's go to the Magician level. So here I want to have multiple selections in multiple pivot tables. Sounds crazy. Should we use a SUMIFS? In this case, you should not. We're gonna use a COUNTIF formula. You're gonna look at me, open your eyes and say COUNTIF? Yes. Let me show you how to do this step by step. So first of all, we're gonna try to use the COUNTIF for the country. Let me just come here and write equal COUNTIF, open parentheses. Let's use a range. So for example, we're gonna take the country, so this is the range. Let's do comma, and for the criteria, let's go and select France. Close parentheses, press Enter. Here you have 9 because you have 9 data points where France is present. But this is not what I want. What if I do something crazy? You can see this guy, he's on his skateboard, he's going backwards. I want to do the inverse. So I'm just gonna remove this, put K4, which is France, as the range, comma, and put the rest. So I just inversed it, press Enter, and you get 1s and 0s. Again, for those of you who do not have a newer version of Excel, you will have to select all those cells, write the formula in the first one, and do Ctrl-Shift-Enter. But from now on, I'm gonna assume that all of us, we have the newest version of Excel, so we get 1s and 0s. 1s are where I have France. You can see this is France, etc. So it seems that 1s is the condition is fulfilled, 0 the condition is not fulfilled. Let's try to do the same for the names. So equal COUNTIF, open parentheses, let's do it reverse. So here what I'm gonna do is select all the 3 names. If you have 4, you select 4 names, etc. Let's do F4, comma, and let's put the names here. Let's use F4, it's fine, you can use it without it. Press Enter, and you get all 1s. So what is it doing? It is checking if this Franco is within those 3 selected names. If yes, it's a 1. So for example, if I come here and just select Gisele, you can see that now we have 0s because this is Franco and it's not within this. Now if I add Franco to the selected names, it's a 1. Perfect. Let's do the same for the product. Same concept, equal COUNTIF, open parentheses, the range is my range of products here, F4. Again, regardless of selection, you have to select the number of cells that correspond to the maximum number of products, comma, let's go to my products, go here, I'm not gonna use F4, I'm lazy, close parentheses, press Enter. So now what I could do is multiply. So sales times this times the second one times the third one. I get 67 expected. If I double click, in this case this is not France, so that's not met, I get a 0. So anytime something is not met, I get a 0. If all my criteria are met, I get the number. Once I get this, I can just sum. Let's just sum this and close parentheses, you get the sum of sales for whatever you select. So now that we have the parts of the formula, we can just reconstruct it. We come here and we're gonna do sum, open parentheses, let's do count if, open parentheses, we're gonna start the same way. So France, I'm just gonna do it a bit quickly. You go here, select those, let's use F4 on this, close parentheses, times count if, and here the range is this data set, F4, comma, let's go to the names, select them, F4 again, close this count if, another count if, open parentheses, this time it's the products, F4, and then the criterias are in C, select them, F4, close parentheses, times, open parentheses, I want to multiply by the sales, those are my sales, F4, close parentheses, close parentheses. Press enter, 516, same number, perfect. So now we just drag this down and we get the numbers. For example, if I just go here and select only Franco, you can see that the three approaches will yield the same number because obviously they will be the same. But as soon as I add, for example, Gisele, things will be different. And obviously if I add a product, now it will be different. So this is where the magic happens.